Hello, my sweet co-op friends. Today we are going to be making a snowflake stained glass window. It's made out of, it's not really glass, but it's tissue paper. Okay. So you will notice in your kit that you have some things paper clipped together. You will notice two bags. One has some snowflakes in it, like that. And one has some tissue paper, some colored tissue paper. You will also notice two sheets. One of them is kind of like this. It's a thicker plastic window with a frame around it. And then this one has a white piece of paper on it that has some writing on it. And what you're going to do for this project is you are going to peel off that paper. You're going to peel off that paper and you're going to lay it down on a covered work surface, a clean one, because you don't want your little window to get dirty. All right, the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to get out a couple snowflakes. Actually, I think on mine, I think we might only have one snowflake in mine. One big one. But that's really, I mean, there's two ways of doing it. You can either just use these little ones. See all these little snowflakes? And I forget how many I put in there. I think I put in maybe 8 of the bigger ones. You'll notice they're all a little bit different. Well, not all of them. There's like 3 different kinds. One might be silver, one might be white, one might be blue. And it might be silver on the other side and blue on one side, and it might be very iridescent. Iridescent is when it's kind of shimmery like that. And the opposite side is more white on these. And so what I'm going to do, I'm not going to put this big one on yet. I'm not going to put that big one on because that one's made of paper. And I'm going to be gluing that one on, even though this is sticky. And there's a reason for that. But I won't go into explaining it too much because you're going to have a couple options with this. You could either, in the end, you can either have this be the part that you see, or it could be the back of this one that you see. It's up to you, totally. So since I only have one of these in my kit, I'm only going to show you what I will do with it with glue instead of with the stickiness, okay? I hope that makes sense. All right, so I'm just going to decorate it all around. I'm going to start decorating it. I hope this is high enough for you to see. Maybe I should add one more thing. Oops. Sorry. I am going to add this to it also to make it higher. Sorry. Sorry, I should have done that ahead of time. Sorry about that. I'm going to put this here to hold it in place for me. Okay. All right, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to just continue decorating it with snowflakes. I'm just going to put a snowflake all over the place. Now the part that's going to be visible is the opposite side. So this is the sticky side. The opposite side is this side. It's not sticky. That's the part that's going to show later, okay? So decorate it with that in mind. Know that that's the side that you'll be able to see later, that will be showing later. And I'm just gonna do it in random places. Actually, I'm gonna save a couple of them for when I do some gluing. All right, now I'm gonna get out the tissue paper. I'm just gonna pour it out. You could just pour it out on your tray. I'm pouring it out on a second tray just because I have because I can't lay mine flat because I'm showing you. Now, one thing that you could do, you can get some scissors and you can make different shapes out of these if you want. You can make some hearts or some other shapes, or you could rip them into all different sizes. And one of the things that mostly what you're going to try to do is cover up all the stickiness. And it doesn't matter if you go over and if the frame shows. But you are just going to just grab different colors. And you don't have to rip it if you don't want to. It's only if you want to. It's kind of fun to rip it. But you're just going to add tissue all over the stickiness. Okay, so you're just going to, anywhere that it's sticky, you are going to add some of this color. All right, and you're going to cover up your whole page that way. Now you could it could be all, you could drop it on there, really. It doesn't even matter. You can be like, woo! Well, it has to touch the stickiness though. And wherever it lands on the stickiness, you could leave it. So I could just do it like that. This one's a little funny because there's one underneath it, but so you could do it that way, or you could carefully set it down everywhere. It's up to you. I want you to make it fun for yourself, okay? And you're just going to cover up this whole thing. So it'll take a moment. You know, you'll probably use up every little piece that you have. And you might want to arrange it so that so that colors are different where you add them than ones that are right next to it. Or not. It doesn't even matter, actually. You could do it however you want. That's the cool part about it. You could do it however you want. It's another one of those however you want ones. So I'm going to, and if you've noticed that you have small little areas that of stickiness showing still, that's where a good time to be that would be a good time for you to rip it, is to just fill in those littler spots. And if it goes somewhere and you didn't mean for it to go there, that's all right. Just drop it there. It's fine. It's all going to look good. No matter what. It's going to look great. So I'm adding all this, not really caring how it's going to look, really, because it really doesn't really matter as long as it's colorful. That's the most important thing. Now, this side's going to look a little bit different than the other side. You're going to see in the end that it may not look the way you planned it. You may have a certain idea of how you want it, and it may not end up being that way. So don't be too attached with how it ends up being. See, like just now, I thought that was light blue, and here's two dark blues next to each other, and that's all right. I'm so fine with that. But make sure and just fill up your page. You may end up having a little extra unless you do a lot of doubling up. What I mean by doubling up is if you have colors on top of each other, and you could have colors on top of each other. It's okay to do that too, because sometimes you will need to do that if you notice that there's a little bit of clear stickiness showing. I'm going to just rip it up a little bit. Now, the reason I didn't use all my snowflakes is because I plan on having them be on this side of the page, on this, because I want it to look pretty on both sides of my stained glass. Now, the reason I want to do that is because I'm going to have it probably in my window, and I want it to look pretty from the inside and the outside. So that's my reason. You don't have to do that. You can make it look pretty on just one side, and that's fine. But if you want it to look pretty on both sides, then you might want to do what I suggest here. Look, I only have 4 pieces left, and it's the perfect amount. It's just perfect. All right, so now what I'm going to do, and it doesn't matter that it's not even. Okay, that part's okay. It doesn't really matter, that part. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I am going to glue with some of the glue that I have, or that you're going to notice that you have. Uh-oh, my kit does not have any Q-tips. Yours does. Mine does not, and that's all right. So I'm going to use a paintbrush because I have one. I'm going to use a paintbrush, and I am going to glue, because one of the things you're going to do is you're going to kind of glue the whole, you're going to glue all of this. You're going to glue this whole thing, but you might want to add a little bit of water to the glue. I'm not going to worry about that right now because I'm doing this video and I wanted to And I didn't plan that part ahead of time, unfortunately. And this one I'm going to put right in the middle. I'm just going to put it right in the middle. Okay. Now I'm going to add these. I only have 2 more of these littler snowflakes, and I'm going to add them in a couple spots. I only need a dab of glue for each of them, really. I'm going to do that. And now what you're going to do with your glue is with the paintbrush. If you have a paintbrush, hopefully you have a paintbrush. Hopefully I wrote that in the instructions. I can't remember. But if you have a paintbrush, I want you to glue the entire thing. The entire thing, okay? You're going to glue it right on the edge of, you're going to do it on the black frame, and you're going to do it on the tissue, okay? We're going to do it all over the place. And the reason we're doing that is because the next page that we're adding doesn't have stickiness to it. It has a transparent page. Now be very careful. I know I said to use a clean surface, and this part's important. And I don't know why I'm not being more careful right now. But make sure that when you're adding the glue, make sure that you have something underneath it, like a paper towel or something, so that your window doesn't get full of glue. Okay, so mine, if I move mine around too much, then the other side of my window will get probably full of glue because I got some on the tray below it. So hopefully that won't happen because I'm going to try and hold it steady. Again, it's just because it's on this crazy slant right here. So I think what I'll end up doing is I'll probably move it just before I add the frame, because I want to be able to do that part very carefully. Uh-oh, one of my little tissues came up. That's okay, because I could just glue it down. So I'm just adding glue all over the whole thing. Uh-oh. I guess that's something that is going to happen sometimes, is some of your tissues, unless it's really sticking to the sticky part of the picture, of your page, of your sheet, then it may lift up with the glue when you're gluing this part, okay? And if you don't get the entire page, that's okay, but mostly just get the frame. But it's going to look really pretty if you can get the tissue too. Partly because you want it to look like stained glass, and you want it to be sort of attached to the window. And since the other page that we're going to be attaching it to, it doesn't have any sticky side other than this glue, it's going to help. It's going to help to make it stick together. Now this part's getting a little tricky because it's right where my fingers are, and I don't want to touch my window with sticky, gluey fingers. So I'm going to add a little bit more. I don't want it to move too much because of the glue I have on my tray. I hope this is going to be easy enough for you to do. Parents, just make sure that they have a nice clean work surface also that they can move this to before adding their second page. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to move mine over to this red page, this red tray, excuse me. I'm going to move it over there right now, very carefully. Okay, so now I'm going to let it dry just a little bit. Just because I really want it to not dry. I don't want it to dry, but I want it to get a little bit tacky. And before I add the other page. Now, I'm noticing that my black snowflake is kind of hard to see a little bit right now. And I hope that's okay. I think it'll be fine. All right, now this is a good time to go wash your hands if you have glue on your hands. I don't have too much. I think I'm going to be okay. I'm going to let it dry just a little bit, not too much. In the meantime, while it's drying a little, I just want to say hi, and I love you. And I hope that you enjoy doing this project. And, you know, in the interest of time, you know what I'm going to do? I am not going to let it dry too much. I'm not, but you are. Okay, you're going to let it dry a little bit. You're going to let it dry until it's not super duper white glue anymore, okay? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to very carefully add my page. Now, what I like it so that you're going to notice there's 2 sides to this, right? To this thicker plastic page, this window. I like it so that the paper side is on the outside. I want that to be more visible. This part is the part that I want to glue down to the other side. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do that for this particular side. And you're going to do that very carefully. Okay, and once it's there, with your clean hand or with your scratch page, like I mentioned, having a scratch page, you can use this transparent page too. And you're going to just slide it across. You're just going to slide it across, and you're going to let it dry. Now, if it needs, if you need to add like a paper clip to hold it together, or put something heavy on it while it dries, that's a good idea. Okay, and there is, so that's one side, and here's the other side. Now, I don't know if you could see, I can't really see my snowflake yet that well. Oops, sorry. I can't see my snowflake yet, but you could see it on the picture that I made for you. This one, it's on a sample one. I think you could see it pretty well. Anyways, you will definitely see it when the glue dries. And that, my darling friends, is your stained glass snowflakes. No, what did I call it? A snowflake stained tissue glass window. All right, now I'm going to go put a big book on it to hold it nice and flat until it dries. All right, I love you, and take care. I hope that you have a wonderful week, and enjoy the project that Miss Rebecca is doing with you. I'm already craving it. Some hot cocoa. Yum. All right, love you to pieces. Bye, friends. Bye.